I'm going to help you step by step integrate yourself into the gym. If you've never been before and you have absolutely no experience and you have absolutely no idea what you're doing, we're basically going to be going over 4 steps, 4 really simple steps. It's going to help you go from where you are now to basically just integrating you into the gym and getting started. But before we do get into this video, I'd absolutely love it if I could introduce myself to you guys if you don't know who I am already. So my name is Ryan. I'm just turned 20 the other day, and over the past 4 years I've dedicated myself to gaining over 27 kilos of lean mass. As you can see my transformation on the screen right now, and I'm on a mission to help thousands of men do the exact same thing. So that's all I've got to say for the intro about myself and the video. So I don't want to bore you, so let's get into this video. So the first thing that I want to go over with you guys isn't necessarily anything about the training, anything about the diet. That is going to come in the later steps. But the first thing that I want to go over with you guys is acknowledging the starting point, right? My theory behind these steps is we have to build the foundational layer before we build, right? And a really good example that I like to tell the guys, that I like to teach people whenever someone asks me, why do you not go into the training or the diet straight away? It's because we have to build the foundations, right? It's exactly like a builder has to build the foundations below the house first, that support beam, so when they build the house it can actually stay upright. However, if you just rush straight into things and the builders build the house before they build that support beam, before they build that foundation underneath the house, then there's going to be no stability below the house, no matter whether it is a £1 house or a $5 million mansion. It's going to collapse if it doesn't have a support beam underneath it. So we need to build the support beam, and the first step that is going to help us build this support beam is acknowledging our starting point. So there are some action items I'm going to make you make right now in this video. And this basically consists of progress pictures, our initial scale weight, signing up to the gym right now, and I'm going to get into that in a little second if you haven't already done that. But the main things here is our progress pictures and our scale weight, right? And the reason why these two things are super important is because not only do we need to measure our progression, obviously that is essential, and obviously it's really important because we want to bulk and gain muscle, so we actually need to see whether what we're doing is effective, and I will get onto that in just a second as well. But just for the motivation factor as well, that just adding that fuel to the fire to make the fire even bigger, right? Obviously you're watching this video now because you want to change, you want to get out of your current situation, and you want to evolve, not just mentally but physically and as a person as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Acknowledging our starting point and bringing our sort of, not our pain, but sort of bringing our situation to light is important because it's going to give us more fuel and more desire to change and escape our current bodies and evolve and grow muscle and grow into the body that we want to grow into, right? So what I want you guys to do now is take your first progress pictures, right? So I'll put up loads and loads of examples of progress pictures I've taken up on the screen. You can take pictures. What I would highly suggest you do actually is take some relaxed pictures. So as you can see on the screen right now, you literally just want to face the front of the camera, not tensing, arms down by your sides, and then you basically just want to turn around to the side, and then you basically just want to turn around to the back, and then to the side again. You can do this by just playing a video and then you just screenshot it. By the way, got a new haircut if you're a regular watcher of the channel. If you saw that, yeah. I like it personally. I like it. But anyways, back to the video. So yeah, you just want to take standing, relaxed pictures, and then you just want to basically keep doing this over time. What I suggest is doing this on the first of every month. So just taking the relaxed pictures, and you'll see that, because 4 weeks is enough to see the difference, especially when you're gaining weight and you're trying to bulk. So I'd highly suggest doing that. And you just want to take mirror pictures. I'll pop loads on the screen that you can do right now, and also pictures of you posing, right? Obviously your poses may not look as good as this, and mine aren't great either. However, I do a pretty sad amount of posing, to be honest with you, when I'm in my bathroom, when I'm on my own. I just love to pose whenever I see a mirror. I just love to, do a little side tricep or a little bicep pose or a little back pose. I love it, right? So that's why my poses do look reasonably okay, even though I've never competed or anything. But yeah, you just want to take your progress pictures. So that's the first way we're going to measure your progress going forward. Now the second one is your scale weight. Because we want to gain weight and gain muscle, it is important that our scale weight is going up consistently, right? And if we don't track our scale weight over time, then how are we going to know whether what we're doing is working or not? And if it isn't, we'll never know that we need to make the change, and therefore we're just going to keep not making progress, and then you're probably going to want to come back to this video later down the line because you haven't made any progress and you're still at square one. Okay, so we need to track our scale weight, and making sure we track our initial scale weight is super important for one of the steps I'm going to go over with you guys in just a second after this one. So I want you to do as the first thing when you wake up the next day to whenever you're watching this, the next morning, what I want you to do is stand in your scale and note down or take a picture of the weight that it says on the scale that you are right now. And the reason why we got to do this in the morning is because it's the most accurate time throughout the day. Because after we slept, obviously during our sleep, our digestion system is obviously clearing out all of this stuff, basically just getting us ready for the next day. And we're also holding less water in our system. So it's basically just the most accurate time to weigh yourself throughout the day, long story short. So the next morning to when you're watching this video, do that action step. Do not forget, and it is super important that you do that. And when you get into a proper routine of it, I would highly recommend you weigh yourself every single day, and basically what you do in order to get a most accurate gauge of how much weight you've gained throughout the week is you weigh yourself every day, and then you work out the average of that at the end of the week, and then that's how much weight, and then you just compare that to the last week, etc, etc. But you don't need to do that now. All I want you to do right now is just get your first scale weight. Okay, and now the final thing that I want you to do is, if you haven't already, sign up to your local gym. Right, you may be feeling resistance to it if you haven't done it already, but signing up to the gym is, you know, what is more than what 99% of people do anyway, right? A lot of people, you know, they face this resistance when they need to sign up to the gym, and then they eventually don't sign up to the gym and they cave into the resistance. If you actually sign up to the gym, then you are getting ahead of the 99%, and that immediately puts you in the top 1%. Right, so that is the starting point. That is step one. So now we've got your progress photos, now we've got your scale weight, or if you haven't, then you can do it the next morning, and you've signed up to the gym, which is absolutely fantastic if you didn't already. Now we got to go into step two. So now is where we actually start to formulate our plan, and where we start to actually you know, do the things necessary to actually gain muscle and gain weight, etc, etc. So number two is all about the basics, right? Starting with the basics. As I said, we need to build this support beam before we build the house, otherwise the house is going to fall, and we need a structure underneath it to give it stability when it's built, right? So this is what I mean by the basics, right? You want to slowly start to build things up. You don't necessarily want to be eating a shit ton of food straight away. You don't necessarily want to be in a routine that's 5 times a week, really strict, really intense training routine straight away. You need to slowly build yourself up. So you need to actually slowly build yourself up in order to sustain that in the long term. So you don't do that now, you slowly train yourself up. So this basically just consists of, on the diet side, slowly increasing your protein intake, slowly increasing the portion sizes you eat, right? With the workout plan, starting off really simple, right? Let me ask you a question. Why would you try and go to the gym 5 times a week before you've even gone 3 times a week for a month? It doesn't work. You've got to build up this consistency, right? And if you want a really basic, simple workout program to start with, I actually have a free community where I help men beyond these YouTube videos with weight gain and muscle gain. And we have a workout program in there that's completely free. And if you just need something to start off with, it is really simple and effective, and the guys in there are using it. So it's going to be the top link in the description if you want to discover more about that and unlock that. However, you know, I don't want to bore you, back to the video. So you want to start off really simple, really basic, and the most important things right now, as I said, slowly start increasing your protein intake. So just add a protein shake to your diet day to day, or you know, add an egg or two to your already eggy meal. I don't know, right? If you have 2 eggs and a bit of toast, go for 3 eggs or maybe even 4 eggs, right? And then just slowly increase the portion sizes and slowly increase the protein as you go. Don't worry about eating any calorie surplus yet, and if you don't know what that is, I will get into that in just a second. And with the gym, as I said, really simple workout routine. I would suggest 3 times a week to start off with, to get into that consistency and to obviously train your body to actually respond properly to training, right? Because when you start off training, your body's going to be so sensitive to it because it's never done it. Therefore, the reaction is going to be just as sensitive. So you're going to be probably extremely sore when you start out. Like, I'll give you guys an example. I don't want this to intimidate you or anything, but I just find it quite funny. When I first did bicep curls, I didn't even do them intensely or properly, but I couldn't bend my arms straight like that for around 2 weeks. I could only go like that because my biceps were so sore, and that is because they were so sensitive to the training as they've never done that before, right? So it's super important you just slowly build it up. Start with a really simple workout routine. Just focus on not lifting the heavy weight, but actually performing the exercises correctly, because that is what is going to build you muscle. Not necessarily the heavy weight, but the execution of the exercises. So start off with a simple workout program. Focus on mastering the basic techniques and principles of exercising and actually showing up to the gym consistently. And you can do those things for around 4 to 6 weeks, along with increasing your protein intake and slowly increasing the portion sizes. And then we're going to get into step number 3 after you've done that for around a month to 1.5 months, as I just said. If you want access to the workout program in my free community, it's going to be the top link in the description. I would highly, highly recommend it. Obviously, there's no hiding that. But yeah, so just slowly increasing your protein intake, slowly increasing the portion sizes you eat day to day, and obviously starting off with a really simple workout routine, focusing on the technique of the exercises over the weight at all costs. Please trust me, right? Do that for around 4 to 6 weeks, and now we're going to move on to step 3 once you've done that. So now we actually want to start eating the required amount that is going to help us continue to gain weight over a prolonged period of time, right? Because your diet may not necessarily be good now, making the slightest changes will make the difference. However, once the difference has already been made, we need to do more. Our body now will demand us more in order to gain more weight and gain more muscle, right? So now we need to start eating in a calorie surplus, right? Once we've started to, slowly train our body up to eat more food every day and increase the protein, right? And if you don't necessarily know what a calorie surplus is, it basically just consists of eating more calories in a day than the amount of calories that leaves our body. So for example, let's take person X has a maintenance calories of 2,000 calories. So that basically means if they eat 2,000 calories every single day, they're going to stay at the exact same weight, and that is because 2,000 calories naturally leaves their body also every day. So it basically just balances it out, therefore someone stays at the same weight. However, we want to gain weight, so we want to eat in a calorie surplus. So we now eat anywhere from 350 to 500 calories more than our maintenance, so 2,350 to 2,500 calories. So we eat more than what our body burns, so we inevitably gain weight. And this little bit is called this little bit above the maintenance is what is called our surplus, and that is what is going to help us gain weight and gain muscle, right? In order to find your calorie surplus, I've left a link. It's going to be the second top link in the description, right? I want you to click on it, and it's basically a calorie calculator. So you fill in your age, you fill in your height, you fill in your weight, and you fill in your activity levels. So just really carefully think about the activity levels, and then what you want to do is you want to press calculate, and then just below the numbers that come up right now, there is going to be an option that says show info for weight gain, and then you click on that, and then the number you want to start eating at is the number that says that it's going to gain 0.5 kilos a week. So I'll put a video up somewhere whilst I'm speaking about this to make it easier for you to follow, and you can actually see me do it for myself as well. But that's basically what you want to do, and that is the number of calories, and that is how many calories you are going to start eating day to day in order to gain weight at an efficient rate. Final step, which is step 4, it's not really that complicated, it's very simple. You just want to stay consistent with these things. So stay consistent with a calorie surplus, right? Stay consistent with your training routine. Start training a little bit harder. Start increasing the weight as you get used to the basic exercise techniques, and that is how you grow muscle, because we need to keep increasing the intensity and the difficulty of our training sessions, regardless whether that's through increasing the weight or doing one more rep than last week. It's super important because we need to give our muscles, we need to constantly be giving our muscles more stress to adapt to, right? And that is all muscle growth is. It's an adaptation process. And if you keep things the same, just like, you know, you getting into the gym in the first 4 to 6 weeks, not necessarily training as intense and you know, just focusing on the really basic things, you need to now start you know, sort of increasing the difficulty of your sessions, so your muscles have more to adapt to, so your muscles can respond to that and grow bigger and better and stronger. However, if you just keep things the same, then your muscles aren't going to have anything new to adapt to, and that is really what muscle growth is. So step 4 is just eating in a calorie surplus consistently, and if you want to watch more on that, I'm going to leave a video in the cards, and there are a couple of videos in the top link in the description that basically talk about bulking for beginners, and how I personally gained 10 kilos in 6 months, which goes into a lot more detail on eating in a calorie surplus. And obviously you want to be as consistent as possible with your training, pushing yourself all the time. And one thing I like to live by is be better than yesterday, or just be better than the last workout, right? For example, if you got 7 reps on bench press with 60 kilos or 135 pounds, go for 8 this week. Have that in your mind, and that is how you're going to progress. So that is basically it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I really appreciate your time. If you have stayed this far, then as I said throughout the video, I'd absolutely love to invite you into my very own free online community where I'm helping 220 plus men just like you with their weight and muscle gain struggles, and basically just obviously helping them start their journey off in the right way. So if you are interested in that and you want more help from me beyond these YouTube videos, then it's going to be the top link in the description down below. And as I said, there's also some YouTube videos that I'd recommend you watching after this one now, obviously to just slowly start to increase your knowledge and all of that good stuff. But if you do want to stay on the YouTube channel and not necessarily join the community, that's completely fine by me. If you did enjoy this video and you found it useful, make sure you drop a thumbs up. Also leave a comment down below, and if you do want to stay around in the future, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so a subscription would genuinely go a long way, and it would mean the world to me if I can just teach one more person, right, through my videos, right? So I haven't got anything else to say. Ciao.